Okay, now, when I was younger, I had the chance to work at Fox, and I did. I worked at Fox for less than a year. But the reason I left Fox is because I couldn't be myself there. I didn't fit in. The department I was in was not in front of the camera, it was behind the camera, behind the scenes. And it was really more of a technical and clerical kind of job. And so once my personality started coming out, just you started seeing me every single day, it started to be like, well, aren't you going to try to forge a path here? Aren't you going to snoop around? Aren't you going to go to different departments during your lunchtime? Aren't you going to, you know, try to hang out and see what's going on around here? Aren't you going to stow away? Aren't you going to go to different places that you're not asked to go in? Aren't you going to peekaboo and see what else is here on the lot? Aren't you going to do that? And the answer was no, because that's not what I was told to do. I was told as I was trained as a worker. You see, I was coming there from the back door. It was knowing the right people that got me in the door to Fox. It wasn't a resume. It wasn't because I was on good terms with the director. It wasn't because I even knew the people in my department and got put on. It was it was a heaven's touch on my life from the Lord for me to walk in that door and get paid and get checks. I would take checks from Fox and I would go to the check cashing place on Crenshaw that everybody would go to and cash these checks from Fox. So you see, I didn't have that uppity mentality. I was basically among the poor the whole time. And it's not so much that the people were poor, it's that the people were poorer than the people I was going to work for. I was catching a bus going to a television studio, but I was on the bus also with people that went to work at the grocery store, that went to work at AutoZone, that went to work at the gas station. You see what I'm saying? I'm on the bus with everyone, but I'm going to work at Fox. So it didn't last because I wasn't going to schmooze with the leadership. I wasn't going to schmooze with the boss. I wasn't going to come in there and say, hey man, I am Julius and hear me roar. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to come in there and, try to hobnob with you and is there something I can say or do to where you want me to stay here? I feel that your raw talent and your raw ability is what's supposed to make the difference. Your raw ability is what's supposed to let you bring you in the door, not because you are trying to get on somebody's good side so that they pay you. I never understood kissing the boss's butt to get paid. I've been in situations like that several times where the boss wants you to kiss their butt so that they could pay you. You know what I'm saying? And I remember my last job, it was the same thing. They wanted me to kiss people's butt, in order to have a job there. And I refused to do that. And the people didn't even really like me. That was like the third of that series. But one woman, she was big breasted and very pretty. She did like me. So that was good. But the rest of them did not. So the bottom line is you don't schmooze to get ahead. You don't play games to get ahead. That's not the way it's done. You can't say, oh, okay, well, we'll just get millions of people on this. And then that will be the new way. That will be the way. But there's nothing new under the sun. This type of behavior has happened before, and it was established then, long ago, that is wrong. The reason it's wrong is it is dismissive of the foundation. Those who have paved the way, literally, those who have laid the foundation down, those who have done the things to where you could stand there and play games, you're jumping all over them. You're ignoring them, you're dismissing them. And you're not going to give them the credit. You're not going to do things in their honor. You're not going to appreciate them. You're going to keep going as far as you could go, as long as you benefit. I'm reading a story where two neighbors are fighting. You know why? Because they don't have any coping skills. They play games, they got their houses, they got their spouses, they got some money, they got animals, they got dogs, and they got all this stuff playing games. So this is their life. But they get into an argument, and they can't even face the argument. You know what I'm saying? So the argument escalates to such a point, to a degree, where they end up fighting, and one of them pulls a weapon out. So this is what happens when you play games. You don't have any kind of coping skills, no kind of coping mechanism at all. You're just floating along on the backs of the founder, on the person who really paved the way and did the things, the hard work. You're jumping on their back, and you're getting what they would get in a matter of time. You might be able to come upon it sooner, whatever their treasure that's laid up for them. You may somehow discover it, but it's not your treasure. It's like finding coins underneath the water, but the water is on someone else's property. You see what I'm saying? The water belongs to one of the founders, and you're skimming on top of the water. You go dive deep and find the treasure, and you want to claim it as your own. But you don't know the true worth of the treasure. Just like these two men didn't know the true worth of having nice big homes, nice ample spouses, and animals. You see what I'm saying? They didn't know what the value was of what they had, because they stepped on somebody else to get it. And that's the whole purpose of saying no to all this playing games, because you have to step on somebody else's back to get what it is you're trying, what you want. And schmoozing is not that worth it. If I had a schmooze at Fox, I could have had a big house too. I could have had lots of things too. But when there's a little black kid that's coming up, and he's looking at me and seeing how successful I am, how I have a big house and I have a nice wife that's ample, and I have a spouse and plenty of every little treasure that I want or need. If this child looks upon me and they want to know, how can I do this too? How can I get the treasure? What can I tell him? You got to schmooze. You got to, try to get along with the boss. You got to find out who's who. You got to do all these, you know, unconventional, nonsensical things to get somewhere. When if you if you really can rap, or you really can sing, or you really could tell some jokes, that's how you get in the door, because you can really do the things that are necessary, that are needed, instead of you can halfway do it. You got 50% of a joke, but you want me to let you in the door with the stars and get the spotlight. It doesn't work like that. You have to go get your own spotlight. and then it will get bigger over time. So you go off in the corner, you have this little baby spotlight, and it keeps growing, and one day it'll be a big spotlight. One day you'll have many views, many viewers. People will come and tune in and see what you're talking about after a while. But in the beginning, you might see the person that has 20 million views and say, man, they have the spotlight. I want to get their spotlight. I want to do what they're doing to get the spotlight. But you don't have to do that. All you need to do is do what you're supposed to do. Forget about what you want to do all the time. Do what you're supposed to do first. Then do what you want to do. Okay? It's like if you're on a farm, or when you're on the farm, or what have you. There are certain things you have to do: getting the barn ready, getting the animals ready, getting the troughs ready, if depending on what you have there, tending to the crops. Certain things that you have to do preparatory before you even get to the level of which one do I want to do first, or what do I need to be doing. Once you get to the level of what you need to be doing, you're already prepped up. You've already done everything in the beginning. And only the foundation layer would know this. Only the person who's putting the foundation would know this. And that's the reason why you don't want to just jump over the people who were there. You want to just go as far as your skills can take you. If your skills only take you next door, then conquer next door. Get as far as you can get next door. You know, every speck of dust that you have to try to pass, it's a level. And you congratulate yourself, you reward yourself a little bit for your strides that you're making. But you don't surpass the people who were there first and who laid the foundation. You don't surpass them. You don't say to them, you did it wrong because you see I got it already. You might have it already, but you won't appreciate what you have. It's like these cell phones. We have these great cell phones, but if you remember rotary phone, or you remember the beginning first cell phones, then you would appreciate these. Then you wouldn't be looking to get a new cell phone every year. You wouldn't be trying to get a new phone every 6 months. You wouldn't be trying to get a new device every time you turn around. You wouldn't be trying to get new this and new that all the time, because you remember when this was a joke, when this was a fantasy. To be able to watch movies anytime, anywhere, be able to listen to music on your phone, and you could talk on the phone too, to be able to read books and surf the internet, and the list goes on. But all these things have been done, and you get a chance to use and enjoy them. And so you don't want to forget about these things. You don't want to forget about the beginning and the foundation. And so lay your own foundation. And as you lay your own foundation, you'll have less of a reason to try to step over somebody else's and be fake. Be for real.